Hey everyone, Eggman here with another video. I thought that there was going to be a site update for one of the products coming out, but there definitely wasn't today. So instead, we're just going to do like an ad hoc talk about Super Shenron and my thoughts about it. And yeah, it's been a popular topic lately, and people have asked my thoughts, and I want to get my thoughts on it. So let's just jump into it. So first, before we do, if you don't know what the deck is or exactly. We've got Marcus made an article today, actually conveniently of all days, for this. If you want to know what his deck list is and just some his matchup knowledge and thoughts on the deck, definitely worth a read. I think he also did one for the third place profile. Yeah, okay, there's the video. Yeah, that's right on Crossworlds. But there's that. So if you're interested in knowing more about the deck and more in depth in that way. There's that, but if you feel like if you played a couple games with it and you see every card in their deck because that's how the deck works, let's just talk about it. So the main combo that I feel is Degenerate, and I think a lot of other people think is Degenerate, is just the way to fill up your drop area, and it's pretty much using Child's Wish to get Explorer Bulma, and then using Explorer Bulma to mill 2, untap 2, and draw 1. So it's for free. You're able to just get 3 cards in your drop, essentially 2 for the draw, 2 for the mill, and the Child's Wish, and yeah, and that can be really powerful, especially since already there's just a lot of cycle in this deck. You need to get 20 cards in there, and you already get it with like Successor of Hope. Right here, it's a free way to do it. Personal Ambition's a free way to do it. And just a lot of the other cards are able to cycle a lot, which can be really feel really bad to go against if they're able to get their second turn on turn 2, right? A lot of the times it's turn 3 is when they take their second turn, but that still just feels really bad. And on top of it, something that Marcus's deck did is it's the Hayden Mastery build. So you're able to play like this Goku on turn 3, and then on turn you take your second turn on turn 4, and then you bring out this guy, and then you tap out all their energy after already being aggressive or something like that. If you want more, there's also like VODs for this deck as well, so that you can watch those. But in my mind, that can be pretty degenerate, and I think a lot of other people feel that too. And the other thing that that people really don't like about this deck is just how you play against it. It's not necessarily it is broken in a sense, but the main thing that is not fun about this deck is just how long the turns take, and just how you have to play against it anyways. There are counters to this deck. Luckily this game's old enough that there are a lot of pieces of like counterplay that exist already to kind of counter these things, which didn't exactly happen. Like if this spot like a year ago, when like Mecha Frieza was like the super strong deck, I don't think it's as broken as Mecha Frieza. It will be really hard for it to be better than that, because that's a turn 1 win, but this can be a turn 2 win at times. And even if it's not, I feel like at times that Mecha Frieza was at least better to play against, because if you won or lost in 10 minutes. This you gotta wait like a whole 30 minutes and just keep going through the motions, and that feels really bad. Just to I feel like you would know still in Super Shenron if you lost in 10 minutes, but you still gotta play out for 30 in case you don't, right? So that's a really bad feeling. And yeah, and so I just want to talk about it. So first, I've got some counter cards here, but also like some counter cards. So which is really funny to me. So like the biggest way that you can counter this deck, I feel like there are 4 main cards. There's like Gali, Destruction Whis, and Burnished Bonds Borgos. And so both these cards, you're able to, during your opponent's turn, if your opponent switches their energy to active mode using a non-awakened skill, choose up to one of your opponent's energy and place it in their owner's drop area. Whis is the same thing. And both these cards can affect Explorer Bulma, are also Personal Ambition. Both these are pretty much free draw, but they do it by untapping the energy that you use to play these cards. So that's one way to do it, just being able to ping one of their energy down, and then they can't do anything about it. And then also There's Dark Power Black Massane. Your opponent plays a battle card with 15k power or less using a non-keyword skill, they have to choose 2 cards in the hand and place them in the drop area. This is also not once per turn, so every time they play a Bulma, they have to discard 2, which, to be honest, could be it can be good and bad at times, just because there are a lot of like extra cards that this deck runs and stuff that they have to discard anyways, for to get to their 27 and drop, and so it can help them sometimes. It's not like I don't know. It's up in the air how I feel about this. Yes, you get their smaller hand, and most of the time they lose is if they take their extra turn, but they don't have enough resources on turn 2. Dark Power Black Massane is definitely a target for them to want to hit, but it's not. I don't think it's as big as Borgos or Whis being able to destroy one of their energy. And then there's Son Goku striving to be the best. Just really good. Unfortunately, a lot of the cards, it depends on the build. Against Marcus's build, it doesn't do too much. You can stop like the lower level swap stuff like Bardock and Goku and Gohan, but not. It doesn't stop like the actual win condition, so that's a little bit up in the air. If you're playing just against the generic Storm version with like the crit Krillins and stuff like that, this can be a lot of trouble, but not like a huge amount. And then also there's Crisis Crusher, which works pretty much for both sides of the matchup. If there are no battle cards in your battle area, you reduce the cost of this card in your hand by 2. Players can attack with battle cards with energy cost 1. That means you and your opponent. So if your opponent plays this, if your Super Shenron player plays this, they can't attack with 1 drop stuff. But also, once per turn, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards with energy cost of 1 and KO it. So good on both sides, being able to KO stuff, but also this is really good against as the Super Shenron player, just because it's a 1 cost turn to blow up your opponent's Borgos, Whis, and Dark Power Black Massane. So that can be pretty annoying. And then they can just like combo it off against an attack early on, so they can do their Explorer Bulma stuff. So there's that, and then there's also some just like counterplay to the counterplay. So for example, there's like Super Saiyan Vegeta. So this is super good for if they just have like a bunch of Whis and Borgos, and they're like, aha, I've got them. They can't win. They just play this, and then they blow them all up, and you feel really bad. Most of the time they can only play this with Child's Wish, but it's still super worth it for them, and then they just keep to go off. And then also this other Vegeta, which is the Harmonic Energy Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta. The only thing that matters is that this can be played off of Child's Wish, and then once per turn, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards, ignoring barrier against minus 10k power for duration of the turn. So you can blow up Son Goku striving to be the best. So all these cards have options. All these cards have counters to the counters. And so it's just this weird state of like who gets pretty much lucky, really, who makes the right call and doesn't get called out for it. And so now that we've kind of talked about that and some stuff to do about it, I just want to talk about like my theories or my feelings about is this deck degenerate enough to warrant some kind of change? And at the end of the day, I feel like yes, and I don't feel like I'm someone who normally calls for bans on a lot of things, and I know this deck's not even that old. It's not even a month old, but I feel like it's degenerate in enough ways that it should be looked upon and thought about. If from at least from Bandai, I hope they're thinking about this deck and wondering if there should be a change. I'm not exactly sure what the change is. That's why I'm a little bit on the fence. There are a couple of problem cards that enable it. One, Super Shenron itself, and a lot of people said this, and I myself included, that if Super Shenron plays the way that it was designed, which was to get an extra turn on turn 4 or 5, it won't be super powerful because there are a lot of ways to end the game on turn 3 or 4. But if you're able to get the turn early, you're able to pretty much untap your entire field and get an extra energy. And I was experimenting with that kind of stuff when it was first announced, and I think I said something, and I don't remember exactly, I made videos on it, but I think I said something about the lines of, if someone's able to awaken on turn 2 or 3, it's super powerful. We're just gonna have to wait to see if someone makes a deck with it, and then someone did. So, it's really powerful, right? I think the build that I made, it did have the Explorer Bulma engine, but it used Namekians instead to try to get like the Piccolo lock. But this definitely is way more powerful. And so yeah, so some thoughts about that. So Shenron, Super Shenron itself, is it too powerful? I don't think so. I don't like banning leader cards, to be honest. But the fact that it does get an extra turn is powerful in the fact that there are a lot of ways to lock your opponent's energy right now. We're talking about Tien, and then also just like Height of Mastery. I've got like qualms about Height of Mastery. Like, yes, it's like a super powerful win condition. Is it too powerful? I don't know. It's got it has Deflect, which is annoying, and you can get it out on turn 4 with Son Goku Path to Greatness, and it's really hard to get rid of Son Goku Path to Greatness too. The fact that it can also be Shugeshed out, I don't know. I've been kind of tired of like the yellow Broly like Victory Strike deck, and I feel like this card was a mistake, to be honest. I know Son Goku Path to Greatness is great, and it enables a lot of decks, but I think it's a little bit too powerful. I don't think it should be banned, but I wish this wasn't overtuned as much. I feel like it's just caused a lot of like OTK decks, and it can just be. If there were more counters to this card, I'd be happy. Or if it didn't get Shugeshed out or something, that would probably be good. But right now, I feel like it's a little bit too just. It's tough to deal with, especially because like Height of Mastery, you have to have 3 energy and a card that they can't want to swap into rest mode. So you have to have like a blocker or something just to live, right? And that feels like that's your entire turn of 3, right? It's just not having any having all your energy untapped and having like some barrier blocker thing to stop this attack, and it just feels bad. And then you can also play Battering, right? That's the other thing that makes this deck really degenerate in a lot of people's mind. It's just like, even if they have the negate, you can just stop it with 1 energy, right? And that feels bad. But I don't think this is the problem. I just let me rant about that card for a second. But a lot of people are claiming Explorer Bulma can be the issue, and I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, this card's old, and so it's kind of like the old like Yu-Gi-Oh thing where like, oh, this card was like mediocre when it first came out, and then now that I think this card's over a year old, right? And then after you make cards around it and you don't really keep this in mind, bad things happen, right? And that's, a lot of people think it's cool, and I think it's cool too that you're able to make older cards with just the right text work with the right cards. But I don't think the fact that this can kind of make a loop and just have a lot of recursion with making this deck viable, I don't think that's a very good thing. If this card didn't exist, this deck would not work in my mind. You could still probably awaken on turn, have a second turn on turn 3 or 4, but probably pretty rare on turn 3, pretty consistent on turn 4, which would still be a problem for like this Height of Mastery build, but it just gains a lot of advantage, and I don't think I think it's bad for this deck, but I don't think it's bad for any other deck, right? And so it's kind of questionable. I don't know what to fix. I saw someone suggest, and I don't know who it was. I don't remember who it was, so sorry if I can't give credit. But people just saying that if this was errata to say when you play this card from your hand, it would be 100 times better, and it would just be completely fixed for this deck. And I think that would be a good fix. They haven't done an errata for a while to fix a card interaction. Mostly it's been either a ruling change or a card is banned or limited. And so I think that's what their mindset is currently. I'm not sure if they're currently in that mindset, but that's just what it's been the last couple kind of issue cards. It's been like that. But I think that would be a fair errata. But I do know they don't like I think they don't like doing erratas right now, just because they don't want someone to read a card and not be the case. So but yeah, I think that would actually be really fair, though. I think that would make this card less annoying, and it make I think Super Shenron gets more fair the less early you can use its double turn, right? As the a second turn is super powerful, of course, but on the flip side, it's something that they have to build their deck around. They have to do it right. And I think that the biggest thing about it is that they're already taking one long turn, and so being able to do it twice is just feels really bad to play against. You want to play right, and you can't really do that. So. And then, lastly, the two other cards are just Child's Wish. A lot of people kind of have a hate for this card, and this card's been really good in the past 6 months or so that's been out. And partially it's just because it gains advantage for Shenron decks, and people are complaining that this card is broken, and so I'm kind of torn about this card as well. It's not Shenron has a hard time gaining like field advantage. Shenron's really good at getting like any Shenron deck is really good at getting hand advantage, but it's not good at getting some kind of tempo advantage. You're not able to, when you awaken, you don't get like an untapped 2 energy, or you don't get card draw. I mean, you get card draw throughout the game, so that's kind of what balances it out. And then what also balances it out most of the time on any of the versions is that you're supposed to get some big win condition push, and then you're able to try to end the game that way. But it's always been super susceptible to aggro, in my opinion, and so Child's Wish is good in that way, just to be able to cheat out a card to kind of defend yourself. And people are saying like, oh, Child's Wish has always been broken, but I think it's a necessary card for it's I feel really conflicted. It's a necessary card for the bad Shenron decks to be viable, right? But now that we've got like a tier 1 Shenron deck, and we've always had them, like when the regular Shenron came out and there was like Gogeta Shenron, that card, Child's Wish, was needed to make that card viable, right? And also just that idea of just being able to play a 3-drop on turn 2, and also not having to worry about energy cost. But on the other side, you have to use energy for it. Like, you have to have an extra card for it, so you lose card advantage, but you already have card advantage. I don't know. It's really flip floppy, but I don't know. I could see this card be limited in some capacity. I think a lot of people are kind of sick of it, and I get it. And people are calling this card broken, but I don't think a lot of Shenron builds would be viable to play if this card didn't exist. So I don't know if it's a necessary evil, but I don't think this card deserves to be banned. It is powerful, though, in the right decks, and it's also what enables Super Shenron, right? So I don't know. I'm really conflicted. It feels bad to ban a card just because of one archetype or one build making it too powerful, but yeah, that's my thoughts. I'm not sure what the right decision is for Child's Wish. I want the card to exist just because a lot of other decks use it, but it's always been an OTK maker too, right? If you look at like Boo Shenron, or even the new like Dende Agent of Destruction deck, Child's Wish is used in that. And yeah, so it can be a little bit degenerate, but I don't know. I'm not sure how I feel about it right now. It's something's going to happen, I feel like, and it might be Child's Wish, and so you got to prepare for that. Lastly, people complain about Dragon Radar, and I think Dragon Radar is like a good card, and something that you can use, for 1 energy to get it's a 1 energy draw 2 at times, or it can be it's a 1 energy draw 2 cards anytime you use it, pretty much, just because you can get to like 2 desires, or you can get like 2 Dragon Balls and just use them immediately to draw, something like that. I've always had an issue with this card because I don't like. I have a hard time against extra cards that only draw cards, and it's because you can't really. Sometimes it's really hard to make the energy cost for use them. But Dragon Radar is pretty good, and I don't think it's broken in any other deck. I think in this deck, just the fact that it re-enables your Child's Wishes and further thins your deck can be an issue. But I don't think Dragon Radar is the main cause. I think it's fine. I think this deck could still function without it. It might be a little bit tricky to get all your Child's Wishes, but I think it's not. I don't think it's an issue. So there's that. But yeah, I think I think the big contenders, and I think the last thing people say is like Bardock swap could be an issue. And that may have been true like the first week this deck was the thing, but like Marcus's deck, once again, he does run it, but like it's not the main focus of the deck. And I don't think like there are a lot of builds that don't run it. Like if we look at like David Fujiyama's, let me bring it up. Let's see, not images. Come on, Hayden. Let's do this. And we go to TBS celebrations. Okay, and we go to David. There we go. And we go to visual view. Okay. Yeah, his deck doesn't run it, right? He runs just it just has like Fearless Assault Krillin, and then you just have a lot of energy bouncing with like Preface and stuff like that. So you don't have to run it. It's not a necessary thing. But yeah, it's just, I think a lot of people say like this card's always been like the trouble card for like the last 9 months or so. But I agree that Bardock can be kind of, he's if there's like an aggro degenerate deck, he always fits into it at least, right? That's the idea, right? Because he's able to gain so much advantage, and he just gets a draw, he helps awaken, and then he helps cheat out cards later. Like there haven't been like any swap targets for this thing since launch, right? There's only 2 drops they can go into, and it's only been less because Goten's got banned. But this card's still like really good in a lot of ways, and like if you have any like yellow, you want to run this card just because it self awakens you, it can be really aggressive. So, but yeah, I'm not sure. In my gut, I feel like something will happen. I think a lot of people are complaining like, oh, Super Shenron's only built one, or has only won one tournament. I think people are having too much of a gut reaction, but I think it's a warranted reaction. I don't think this deck is healthy for the game. Even though it's only one event, it's one run event. One event. It's able to, it's just really powerful, and mostly because this archetype didn't exist before, like exactly apparently a couple minutes before North Carolina started. But yeah, it's only gotten more powerful as the weeks go on, as people figure out ratios, and everyone knows it feels degenerate, and even most people who play it don't like playing it. They're just playing it because it's powerful, and I think that really says something. So look out for changes in the next month. Hopefully, I don't know. I'm going to Dallas, if you don't already know. So hopefully it changes for Dallas, because I don't want to play against this deck. But there are options to it. It's not like completely 100% broken. It's not the most broken deck to exist. But I think the play style, I think how you play against it is the most degenerate thing about it. Just because even if you do win, it takes like 40 minutes. And it's because your opponent bricked or did something wrong on minute like 38 or something, right? I don't think it feels like you're just autopiloted against. I feel like you don't have a lot of control against this deck, and I don't think there's a way to have control against this deck. And yeah, it just feels really bad. But those are my opinions. Let me know what you think below. If you think, I mean, there's going to be a lot of discussion about what people think is wrong with it. I'm already bracing my comment section for it, but yeah, there's just a lot of opinions flying around. I just want to give out mine. So anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you all next time. Meh.